Well, hello, everybody, and good morning or afternoon or whatever you want to call it. Depends on where you are. Charlie here with Red Summit RF, and I want to welcome everybody to the All Portable Discussion Zone. It's a bi-weekly live stream all about amateur radio portable ops. My name is Charlie. Call sign is November Juliet 7 Victor. And with me this evening is one of our two co-hosts, Dan, KC7MSU, and we are missing Brian. He's out doing career stuff, and so Brian W7JET is still busy training for his job. Won't be with us. Also with me, I'm pleased to announce our guests. We have Doug N4HNH, who is still trying to figure out some stuff. Hopefully, he goes back to his phone instead of his computer, so we can get him on. And then also Pat KI7SVM is here with us, and we have Mike KN6EZE. And a late guest I invited just this afternoon is ATN K7ATN. So welcome to all you guys, and appreciate you being here. Let's see. So this is Doug. So far, we've got audio probably with him, but we don't have a video. So he can either go back to his phone or he can just go with audio only. And so with that, let's see if we can get welcome also everybody in the chat. I've been looking over here and seeing a lot of people commenting, and we are grateful that you're here with us. Of course, if you have comments or questions, throw them there in the chat. We'll try to answer them. And we're happy you joined us this evening. So first, let's go ahead and go around and see what everybody's been up to. I want to start, I guess, today, since I haven't had a chance to start. And it's been a busy week for me. On Monday, my wife and I went up to Flagstaff and did a trifecta. We did 3 summits on the air activations. All 3 of the summits were 10 points with bonus points. So that was 39 points for us. It was a struggle because we had a lot of wind and stuff like that, but it was all right. Pretty fun. Then on Friday, I did Daisy Mountain. It's a 4-pointer. It was 7 miles. That was really fun. Had some DX on that one. And then just yesterday, I did Parks on the Air activation. So I did some POTA. So I've been really busy, more than usual, but good times. So Dan, what have you been up to, if anything? You're muted.
I've been doing a little bit of chasing here at the house, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. So people have really been moving around a lot on the bands as I've been trying to get online and listen for them so I can get them on CW. So I actually bought one of these kits so I could put together a little different antenna so I don't have to run outside and change the antenna links so often. So I'm hoping that'll help me out getting a few more contacts on CW here. So.
My turn? Yeah, you're muted,
Charlie. You're on mute, Charlie.
Sorry, everybody's muting and unmuting the wrong times. All right, Pat, go ahead.
Just been up to my normal, somewhat weekly SOTA activations. The only real change, both of my beloved Palm Pico paddles have died.
No.
Yes.
You had 2 though.
In the last month or so. And so I've been taking the Bengali Simplex on my activation. So nothing like adding a little 4-pound weight to the pack.
Hey, any way you can do it, right?
That's right. So I'm hoping to get one of Adam's new paddles in the near future.
Yeah.
Once he gets a production run going. So
yeah, I've tried it out. It's a pretty good paddle. Mm-hmm.
I've got a porta paddle, ultra porta paddle on order. So hopefully that comes in this week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be a good one. All right, Mike, what have you been up to?
I've actually been getting a bit more SOTA in than usual. Did Gold Mountain yesterday, hiking through the snow, and then last week had a really cool opportunity to spend 10 hours with the wife trudging through snow and getting an activation done, doing some exploring.
That sounds
very,
great.
very long day. Yeah, it was amazing. Long day, but really, really successful just in terms of not only the activation, but just spending time together outdoors. And SOTA's a great excuse to do so.
Good, cool. All right, let's go to ATN.
Yeah, hi. It's ATN K7ATN, and Out in activation with K7FOP yesterday, and worked strangely only one station on 10 meters and one station on 15. I know the propagation was there, but nobody showed. Still plenty of contacts to get the points. It's about a 7-mile snowshoe for us. A lovely day.
I think FOP was on our show a year or so ago.
Exactly right.
Yeah, good. I was wondering how he's been. I've seen some of his stuff up in the Facebook group, so that's cool. Good deal. All right, let's go to Doug next. Doug, you're all settled now? If you unmute. There we go.
Okay, there we go. You got me now?
Yeah, got you now.
All right, I had it muted. Yeah, I did. Let's see, what have I been up to? Well, only one activation this year. That's pathetic. But we've just had we've had a lot going on in the family. Not to get into too much detail, but my grandson had an accident, and so we've been dealing with that a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you at least you made time for one. Was that the one you this year or last? Or was that when I was out there or when after that?
Oh no. This year we were with you last year, December 27th.
Yeah.
This year, Joel and Wayne and I activated Raven Bald.
Oh yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. It was my first time out with my new portable EFHW from NY4G.
Oh, cool. It was the first time using that?
Well, I had used it down in central Georgia, flatland, and I was able to operate the flatlands, mass pole, and I got a 579, 579, with the little 5 QRP MTR4B. So I thought, well, maybe that's a fluke. But then when we got up on Raven Bald with the same antenna, it's the 15-watt model. I was getting 599s all over the place. So I think it's not a fluke. So that was a lot of fun. I can't wait to get back out there and use that rig again.
Yeah, very good. Well, you know what I just on my last activation here on Friday, I used the N4YG for the first time. And I got some 2 Japan DX on it. So it's not a fluke, man.
Well, and his website was down. My video to his website.com, and it was coming back that wasn't up, but he got it back up and running again. So people should be able to see those antennas again. But yeah, I was just pleasant. Little, it's so light. The match is not much in my thumb, So that was a lot of fun. But that's my only activation this year. We want to get back out there, soon though.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Well, I think we've all been introduced, and for those of you who don't know, Doug and I are, I think, pretty good friends. I go out to see my son out in Georgia, and we do activations together. I've done several with him. K7ATN is from the Pacific Northwest. KN6EZE Mike is from SoCal, I guess, right? And then Pat is over there in the Carolinas, if I'm not mistaken. So there are other areas that we haven't got on here and represented. I think that Bob, AC1Z, is trying to put something together in the Northeast. And we have Colorado as well that isn't represented. But that's okay. We've got enough to make this discussion work. So welcome to you all. Let's just get going into this topic then. I thought I'd bring people in. I thought we'd talk a little bit about how to find the SOTA community and what that looks like. So first thing I wanted to talk about was not the in-person stuff that we'll do at the end of the show here, or the second half of the show, but let's talk a little bit about what opportunities or resources are out there to connect with people who are experienced with SOTA, particularly if somebody is new to Summits on the Air and they want to connect with somebody who has more experience, or just be a part of the community if you have been experienced in SOTA for a while, but you don't have a community of sorts. Where would you go? So let me start maybe with Pat and see what he has in mind, and then we'll go from there. Just kind of whoever else has some thoughts. Pat, what do you think about what are some resources that you would suggest for people?
Well, obviously, a lot of people are going to go to the social media. I personally don't do much social media. There is a SOTA Appalachian Facebook page, which gets a lot of traffic. I don't know if Doug can speak to that. Some of the guys up in the Virginia area kind of started that up, and they've got a lot of new activity up there, and that definitely has bred a soda community in the Whiskey for Victor Association.
Okay, I'm trying to look that up right now. Soda
We've
appellation.
got
Well,
several.
if you, it's called Southern Soda and Expeditions, and Walt put it together. Walt's call sign is it NE4TN? Is that right, Pat?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe a different page then.
Yeah, this has only been around for a year and a half, 2 years or so.
Okay. All right. The one I'm thinking about is the Southern Appellation one that Walt put together. I'm not
Here, let me
so I don't see it.
Let me throw up my screen here real quick. I think we can see both are in existence. So if you see that, let me just make it a little bigger here. I did a search. I just did over here. I did soda Appalachian soda, and what came up was one of each. The Soda Appalachian Summits on the Air and the Southern Appalachian Soda and Expeditions. So you're saying that both of these are good resources, then, huh?
Yes, and I think the second one is the newer one that I was referring to.
There are also a couple on MeWe, which is the alternative to Facebook. There are a couple of sites there. There's one for W4 Soda if you're on the MeWe MEWE platform, which doesn't bombard you with ads and spies and all that. But it's called W4 Soda and Expeditions, and then there's one just named Soda. Summits on the Air, Soda Expeditions. That one's just a global one, and then the W4 one is for those of us in the Southeast. But really, most of us that are on there are posting to both. We don't have a huge group on there yet, though.
Yeah. What do you think, ATN, as far as so they kind of mentioned some of their regional ones. You've got a regional one or two as well, and pipe in here too, Mike, if you want. There's this whole thing of regional versus not regional, and that's something that I think we just kind of I read in your email that you sent me a little bit ago about how you pointed out that there's some things that are more broad and then some that are more focused. What do you think?
Yeah, in terms of social media, we actually have a Facebook group that about 280 members, I think, and Roland FOP actually moderates that for us.
And that's Pacific Northwest?
PAC, NW, Soda, Pac Northwest Soda. And it's really people ask questions about things in our region and get directed advice by people who have either been to a summit or have tried something. Pretty active bunch of people who are post on it. And of course, a lot of people post their experiences of an activation they just had.
Is that a Facebook page or something different?
Yep, it's a Facebook group.
Okay, let me search for that and bring that up, maybe, unless you can bring it up.
Yeah, and we're gonna make me share.
No, I can do it. I got mine already halfway there. So let's do me. All right, what do I search for?
Facebook, Pac Northwest, PAC, NW, Soda. Should come right up under the search.
Why is my typing not working? That's
you gotta click on the there you go. PAC, NW, SOTA. Space in there is good. Yeah.
Oh, I needed a space right there, didn't I?
Yeah, space would be better.
We're teaching people how to search the internet.
That's the one right there. Yeah.
All right, good. All right. So we've talked about several Facebook groups. Are there any other resources other than Facebook that you guys enjoy or that you like?
We have a W4 Soda mailing list on groups.io, so you can access that via the website or through the mailing list. I'm kind of old school and like mailing list.
Yeah, groups.io. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, and I know one thing that a lot of people do is they kind of cultivate their own. This is especially good for the chasers, that they cultivate their own mailing list to let the frequent chasers know when they're going out on an activation. That's a more individual thing, though.
Yeah, we have one here for Atlanta area a mailing list. When my brother W4KWM started, the next day after he was on Stone Mountain with me, so we were going to need monitoring to. So what we would do is on the way up to the mountains, what I call, just the repeaters we know where we know some. Thought we'd be on the summit, and then that was on 146.52 or 149, which is our alternate. And so that grew and grew and grew. And we had people start asking me, could let them know when we were going to be out again, and even more of a heads up. So I started a mailing list, and it grew pretty well. So when I know one of our friends from out of state is going to be here, I will send them email, what I call the North Georgia VHF UH team, and I'll send them an email about what time and what, that kind of thing. So I know Pat's been down here. He's had a few.
Yeah. So Doug, you have a little you're breaking up a little bit, so we catch most of it, but I don't know if where you're sitting with your phone, you could move to some place that has a little bit better reception, maybe. But what Doug said was that he has a VHF UHF distribution list, and he's used that to just kind of let everybody know, hey, I'm going to be on a summit, and it's just kind of a email list, and it goes out, and every time he sends that out, we get all kinds of people responding to us, which is great. So
here in the Northwest, we have that backed up with a Facebook group. It's our website for trip reports, pnwsota.org. And if people register and have an email address on there, if there's an event coming up, then they can be notified that it's happening, or the newsletter they'd know when the new newsletter came out, for example. So that's a way that we might connect in the Northwest with it.
Okay. I'm looking at the time, and we're already at 20 after. So ATN, I know you've got to run here in a few minutes. So let's set aside the social media part. We'll come back to that because I have several other that I want to mention. But since you got to run, ATN, let's go ahead and give you an opportunity to tell a little bit about how you organize the Pacific Northwest. As far as there was at some point where there wasn't an organization. But then you saw a need, I guess, and somehow it's evolved. So tell us that story.
Well, I can't take credit for any of it. People are more experienced at Facebook and took that on. And the development of our trip report resource, pnwsota.org, was actually done by a couple people about 10 years ago, about the time I started. But I've maintained it, and I now do the admin for it. But it wasn't my idea, and I probably have changed how it's used to some degree. But one of the things that in terms of finding a social connection or a community, that how was a new person who might be dialed in right now and listening to this, what would they do? And what I would suggest, they point them into the association manager for wherever they activate. So if you're in Colorado, find the association manager, who's Matt, and drop him a note and say, what kind of resources connect me in some way with others who are doing SOTA, people who can answer my questions, people who have been to a summit before. And it may be on Facebook, as we've discussed. It may be through other group IO things. But each region, each area is going to have its own thing. And the association manager really should be the best resource for that. In terms of how things grew up, the pnwsota.org, which is our resource for trip reports, is actually a really old blogging system that's so archaic. We're concerned about it being hack-worthy, truly. But I don't think there's a resource like it anywhere around the world where people can put details about how they activated a summit in one place. A lot of people do blogs, which is great if you can find them. A lot of people put it on Facebook, which, of course, after a few days, you can't find those oftentimes. Sometimes they end up on the SOTA Reflector, which is a nice place, but again, maybe hard to find them. So this is something that actually links to the SOTA data pages, and then also to the SOTA Atlas. Nice way to find things about summits in our area. We're really fortunate that someone developed that system, and we now enjoy the use of it. It's not the number one way, though, that people might connect with each other, except as an email blast, which does happen on occasion. And we can post notices about a summit party or other events coming up there if people bother to look at it. But it's not in your face like a Facebook group is, which is much more immediate and often gets better results and responses.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, ATN. Let's just kind of throw it back to whoever has anything to add or any other comments, and then we'll move on to the next person in our line. Dan, did you have anything?
Yeah, matter of fact, I just threw it out in the chat. I was just curious for folks in the chat. I asked, what resources do you wish was more visible to you when you started SOTA? And or what do you wish as a community, what resource do you wish we had now?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, ATN. Let's go to Pat and let's kind of hear about what he had, what his experience was. Same kind of the same genre, you know, the same question.
Well, done all the email things and the web stuff. And the two things that I think have really helped kind of grow a community, and Doug's been a part of this as well, is get a table at a ham fest. Most of the time they'll give you a table for free since it's a club. Sometimes they want to charge you, but when I tell them that we're not a club and we don't collect dues, sometimes they'll take pity on you and give you a table for free. So, and it's a great way to meet all the folks in your area that are out. You'll run into activators, you'll run into chasers. Folks like Doug will show up and they'll help man the table. It's a great way to hang out and meet the usual suspects, as well as introduce SOTA to other folks. And like at a big ham fest, it makes a great break room where you can sit down and get off your feet for a few minutes.
Yeah, very good. Cool. What do you have to say now that you're taking a drink right now? Mike, what do you have to say about all this?
No, I think those are all great suggestions. I mean, I'm just thinking back to when we originally formed, the SoCal SOTA group, and the way that happened was pretty organic. It was, a few of us were interested in connecting really with other ham operators who were doing SOTA, and people would look on SOTList or on the SOTA database, kind of figure out who was a recent activator, and then people started reaching out to each other via email and started connecting that way. And then, we got the idea, hey, why don't we form a more formal group, a mailing list where folks could sort of join in. Made it something where if you search in a search engine, Southern California and SOTA, you're going to find the group right away. And then from there, it just sort of like grew organically. So, the association managers posting on social media, getting that started, and just really starting something, going out on that limb and being that person to create that Facebook group, to create that mailing list. It may seem like a small thing, but, as we've seen over the past couple of years, growing by a few hundred people, just organically, it's something that I think people want, but, it's just, again, taking that first step. So.
Yeah, good. Just out to the group generally, what do you do besides? Thanks, Mike. So you all kind of have the Groups.io or some similar thing as that. Plus, you mentioned the Facebook page and maybe a few other things. But is there anything that you guys do as a group regionally that brings you together?
I can go with that one for a moment.
Okay.
What's happened around here in the Willamette Valley, at the very least, is people have been really supportive and positive in following people on 2 Meter FM. And so we actually connect with people maybe a couple times a week when you have your phone beep at you saying, hey, someone's on a summit on 2 Meter FM. You go to the radio in the house and you chase them. And that kind of positive support for people doing activation, especially for new people. Oh wow, people are out there looking for me and happy to work. And when you work them 3 or 4 times, Even if you might not meet them very often, you might actually meet these people this way. So that's actually worked out really nicely. It's a community of support. You too, that way, Mike?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we had a couple group events, one in January and then another one in August that Charlie actually went to. And, you know, especially the one in August where we had, you know, good weather, a couple dozen hams getting together on site at a campground. It was a blast. You know, people were doing show and tell with their radios. They were doing joint activations, making friends. And, you know, as a result, what I've seen is even more recently is you see more and more here in Southern California, people doing joint activations, 2, 3 or more activators going up together, learning from each other, checking out each other's gear, because, you know, I think by nature, the hobby is a little solitary. We all kind of, you know, go up there oftentimes alone, and we don't get a chance to really sit with another person or a group of people and say, well, how do you do what you do? What kind of setup do you use? What are the, you know, tips and tricks, gear, setup, operating practices? So even just going out with another ham in the area, reaching out to someone via email who you've seen activate recently, and just making that connection, and then perhaps going with them up to a summit, you may learn something. You may win a lifelong friend. Who knows? So,
yeah, that's a good comment. Anybody else have anything to say about some things that you do in addition?
Well, just to extrapolate on the camp out thing, that's, I guess, one of the things that I've been kind of known for organizing. Actually, Ryan, WG4I, organized the first one in Georgia, and then I kind of took over that. And so we've got a fall and a spring camp out, and I tend to move them around so that we can hopefully draw other people into the campouts. And they're great because it's spread out over a weekend. Actually, it's usually like Thursday through Sunday. So you got lots of time in the evenings to hang out and socialize and interact with the other activators. We always have like a big group meal one night, and you know, sometimes even chasers show up, which is really special.
It sounds kind of like a field day.
Yeah, it is in some ways. And, you know, you get a chance to go out, like Mike was saying, and activate with other people. Sometimes I've seen it where people have activated with 3 different people on 3 different activations on the same day. You know, a group will head out to one summit, another group will head out to another summit. So it is a really good way of forming that community and getting to meet the other people.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a great way, like for me, selfishly, you know, I can go out and collect the completes on those summits in Virginia that I can't drive to.
Method.
So, and we have folks that travel from all over. K9IR, Paula, you know, she comes down to the W4 campouts and makes a road trip out of it and does a lot of other summits along the way. A couple people do that. I'll be heading up to the W1 camp out this summer similarly. So
Cool. All right.
it's I definitely recommend. It's easy. You just find a place with a lot of summits and easy access, and
then
pick a
go
date,
for it.
and they'll
Yeah.
come.
I just
How
wanted
about-
to add too, you know, one thing that I've seen people doing recently, and I'll just shout out to Chris and N1CLC, is he just, you know, once you get the mailing list started, he just posted one day, hey guys, who wants to do dinner at a local, you know, dive bar or something like that. And, you know, super low effort to just drive down and show up for a few hours for dinner and head back. But, you know, it's those kinds of, like, you know, I would call team building or getting to know people sort of activities that really like bring the community together and make it a strong sort of local SOTA group. So,
Yeah. Let's go to Doug, see if he has anything, and then see if Dan has anything.
Well, I was going to mention what Pat brought up, that, you know, Pat and Ryan have probably been more instrumental for SOTA in the Southeast. Well, there's not a probably about it. They blazed the trails early. They created the GPS tracks that we've been able to follow, so we didn't have to figure it out on our own. And those campouts that he's mentioned, those have just been invaluable. My brother and I were going on those. In fact, I brought my sons along on the first couple up in Roan Mountain. Just a lot of fun with those. And so, one of the advantages you get with that is you get so many summit to summits on 2 meters, and therefore you're getting chase points, summit to summit points, completes. And so you come home from one of those and you might have racked up 70, 80, 90, even maybe a little over 100 points over the few days of activator points. But then you've got the summit to summits, the chases. And it actually, so for my brother, Pat was instrumental in this. Once he got his general ticket, Pat said, well, go on and, he was at 600 points, I think, already. So he said, why don't you just go ahead and go to GOAT with your HT? So he did that. And the very next day, he made Sloth as well. And the interesting thing is we look back through his shack sloth points, and really they were not shack sloth points, they were mountain sloth, because most of his chase points were summit to summits at those SOTA camps. And of course, you're being able to meet everybody face to face. Like Pat said, we have the cookout, and it's just an incredible microcosm of within the amateur radio community. The SOTA people, I'm just going to say, are a cut above. Just a wonderful group here in the Southeast. We got Dean, who loves to cook, and he'll bring his Dutch oven. So it's a lot of fun, even away from the radios. And I remember one of the SOTA camps, Ryan and one other fellow went up and did a midnight hike, and we all worked them from the campsite.
Oh, jeez.
It's so much fun, those campouts that Pat and Ryan have put together. And like I said, reading their site notes and watching, using their GPS files. And then also Kevin, our association manager for Georgia, has a lot of his aren't necessarily electronic tracks and all, but he has write-ups, and he'll tell you where the penultimate McDonald's is, and which routes to take from whatever direction you're coming from. So we had a lot of resources available to us when we first got started, but I won't kid you, I struggled with the SOTA website to get going. And in my case, I had a SOTA Elmer or 3, and that was Joel KC4WZB who got me started, and Ryan WG4I and Pat. And and getting to meet those guys in person, you could ask them questions, and they're always very quick to help you out. So how does a person find us in the first place? There are a lot of different ways on that, but once they get involved in it, there's just a great camaraderie of people who are really ready to jump in and even hike a mountain with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug. By the way, your audio is way better. Better connection somehow. So, Dan, what else you got?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have issues, with the SOTA website, but it's a much better website than I've seen in some instances. But when you first get on there and try to figure it out, I think it can be a little bit daunting. As far as getting together and stuff, I know here in Arizona we would have a large group that probably would show up to go if we went camping. So that may be something that we need to do here in the future. And then like Charlie, like what was said previously, was that if you know somebody who's a SOTA enthusiast, drop them an email. Don't be afraid to. They'll be happy to take you out. We've done that a lot of times here in Arizona. And Charlie's even put together a once quarter lunch thing that we get together, and that's turned out to be really great. And a lot of people show for that here in the valley, so it really works out well.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
And
Yeah,
Charlie, I want to clarify one thing though. That
Sure.
was back when I got started in 2018. That I felt like the SOTA website was daunting to navigate. They have made tremendous improvements since then. And so kudos to the people across the big pond who work on that. I put together, by the way, for our guys in the Southeast, I put together a PDF that is I call it a SOTA primer. And it's just kind of a quick and dirty document that, I'll give out to people who ask for it, to also help them learn everything from how to navigate the website, how to log a chase, how to use OutDlog, those kind of things. Just as kind of a Reader's Digest way to help some of the people get started. Some of our chasers have, like Pat said, that have come to the camps, but even some of our 2-meter chasers early on that would chase my brother and I have actually come out and started activating as well. So once you get the word out, and I especially I think once people find out that they can mix their love of radio with their love of the great outdoors, then you attract more people.
Yeah, I think so. One other thing that so Dan mentioned here in Arizona we have the quarterly lunch, which is just all you got to do is just say, hey, I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to have lunch. Anybody want to come? And it just, if you do it on a regular basis, so people know, more and more people come, it becomes more of a thing. We also do now every year here, we do Mini Morning Madness, which is a weekday morning before work, getting up on a summit, leaving the house at 4, getting back by 7, staying up on the summit for maybe 15 minutes, VHF only, unless you do, that's what the kind of the baseline is. There's people who do HF still and stay up longer, but Arizona, in the summertime is really hot, so that's why we do it then. But that's we've had a big response to that as just a different type of an activity that you can plan, and people will, if you do it on a regular basis, like I said, then people will participate and it becomes fun. So there's still a few more things we want to get to. Go ahead, ATN.
Well, we've kind of dabbled around the edges of operating events, but there's 2 others that I thought of and I put in my note is in Arizona, the association manager actually puts together and encourages people to turn out for VHF contests, which actually is a great thing. It really makes the VHFers happy that there's somebody else to work, and you get to operate on bands that you may not usually get to do much with, like 23 centimeters. He also does something you can talk more about than I can, but we just see it pass by as this 10-point madness where you get 30 people on 10-point summits or 35. It's just amazing what you pull off down there as operating events. We have much more subtle summit to summit parties here in Puget Sound and in the Willamette Valley with maybe several dozen participants from time to time. But those actually are also a great way to connect people together and help people recognize call signs, recognize voices, and bring together a community.
Yeah, very good. Anything to add to what ATN said?
Those events that we've had here in Arizona are a whole lot of fun, especially if you're right here in the state, especially on 2 meters, because the chaos there is just tremendous, and it is so fun trying to sort out who is on what mountain and everything else, and it's just a very fast moving event, and then you get on HF and you just enjoy the rest of the day on top of a mountain. So you can't, it's something that I enjoy and look forward to each year.
I read on the Reflector that SOTA started on VHF over in England, I guess. And I think it's fascinating to do it that way. It's a bit of a challenge. We can always get our contacts on HF. And so because I was with my brother in the days he was a tech, I tried to always get my qualifying contacts on 2 meters. And I was just going to add, there was this talk about everybody trying to get people back on 2 meters simplex and 146.52 in particular. And in our state here, we actually had people that were really warm to us getting on there. They were thanking us for putting some traffic back on 2 meters in our area. We've only been chewed out one time, and that was in a different state for being on 2 meters doing what we're doing. But they were people that didn't understand even what we're doing. They thought we get 10 points for every contact we make. But for the most part, we've had encouragement from the VHF people that chase us down here.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, we see a lot of.
I was just going to add, 3 of the people on my mailing list are now just love to chase us because they have twin, 13 element 2 meter Yagis that they chase us with. There's 3 people in this area that do that, and they just are fascinated when they get a chance to chase us with those big Yagis.
What I've seen over the last 2 years anyways, especially with the Morning Madness, is that number one, you see a lot more people who get out early in the morning. And then secondarily, all of a sudden we've seen quite a few people from other clubs in the Valley who don't even participate in SOTA all of a sudden popping up just because, it's a fun thing to do to try and get as many of those contacts on the different summits. and chase those guys. So it's a lot of fun in a lot of aspects. So you get a lot of good activity on 2 meters that you don't really hear that often. Oh, Charlie, you're on mute.
Yeah, 2 meters is really easy too, isn't it? I mean, you don't have to take a lot of gear. It's very simple. You just put it up there, and it invites a lot more chasers too. I mean, there's a lot of technicians out there, people who don't have HF, but if you get that VHF out there going, you're going to get a lot of chasers. My log is full of VHF contacts every time we do Mini Morning Madness. It's fun. So, all right, let's see. So let's move on here for a minute. I want to talk a little bit about a couple other things. We still need to get into more of the social media stuff, but let me see if I can get some of these comments out of the way here. So let me see here. We've got this one. You're doing great, Red. There's always a party in the chat, because I threw out there that I've marked a bunch of comments and we'll get to them. So one of them is this one. Do you think maybe POTA and SOTA websites developers could get together and combine forces? And somebody else down here further said, nope, not happening. But go ahead.
POTA's ARRL, right?
No, Parks on the Air is the first year it was, and then after that they created a similar thing just to what the SOTA is. And I wanted to mention for a minute about that too. I wanted to just to bring that up just a second. Right now we're focusing on Parks on the Air, but I think all of the things that we're talking about apply to sorry, let me retract that. We're talking about Summits on the Air right now, but all the things we are talking about can apply to Parks on the Air. And right now we're focusing on Summits on the Air, which it eliminates some viewers, some people who are listening from the conversation they might feel, because there's areas where there's only one summit or no summits. I mean, Florida, gosh, there's no summits there. There's places where SOTA does not exist in the United States. And so what does that mean? Well, I would say that means shift your attention to Parks on the Air and do the same thing. Organize, do events and stuff like that, and get together and have a good time. So I wanted to mention that. Let's see. There's a few other comments.
Red, you could do both. I mean, N1RBD, Richard, who I'm just so proud of. I don't even think he's been licensed 3 years yet, and he's already in the CW ops. He's a CW, just a monster at it. But he got started because he was part of the search and rescue team for the Appalachian Trail. So he is routinely doing a dual POTA SOTA activation, because you're going to get 10 contacts most everywhere you go. So there's no reason you can't combine that as well if you happen to be in an area where you can.
Yep, for sure.
And there's no reason that you can't combine events, right? I mean, we have POTA activators who are SOTA folks and vice versa. So if you're doing a camp out, there's no reason why you can't combine all those groups up. And some people are going to go off and do POTAs, and some people go off and do SOTAs, and just have a great day out there. A whole bunch of adventure going on and a whole lot of contacts.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Here's the next one. It's just an announcement. W70. So Oregon campout is July 8th and 11th. So Oregon, that's different from the Pacific Northwest, or is it the same?
I think that's different.
Yeah. ATN.
Whiskey 7 Oscar is Oregon, and yeah, that's our Southern Oregon campout this July, being organized by Amy, AG7GP.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully people turn out to that. And then there's
we got about 24 so far. We had plenty of people.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. There's lots of mentions about the SOTA websites, maybe a couple of videos about how to start and what other sites are useful would be a great idea. And that is a good idea. What do you guys think about that?
I guess I should shoot a video about that for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, why not?
I would,
or you too, Red.
Could be, yeah.
I'm going to recommend the SOTA 360 series by N1CLC.
Yeah,
It takes you through his journey from everything from activating to chasing to logging. It really is a good overview. And I usually, for new SOTA ops, I usually recommend they go watch his video series first.
Yeah, it is a good series. Chris, N1CLC, good friend. Okay, here's a question. Let me pop it up here. Do you have a ham alert set up for SOTA activations? What do you think about that, guys?
Ham alert?
I know.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
In other words, do you know when people are on summit? Is there some sort of automatic alert that you get?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Pat hooked Ham Alert.
It's literally Ham Alert, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called, and he even had it set up. And Pat, you work magic. I don't know how you did it, but he's got it set up to where it lets me know if it's a summit I need for one of my bonuses.
Yeah, using the Ham Alert website and the app from Manuel HP9, was it DQM? Yeah, you can set up a SOTA complete alert in there that will look at your activation log every day and send you a ham alert if somebody's on one of those summits.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
One way of using the app that I found helpful is you can set it up for example, VHF, UHF alerts on your local summits, and then you can set up another trigger within the same application for a much larger area. So if you're looking to get, local completes, you can set it up for that. If you want to hear everything that's going on, you can hit a button and now you're getting alerts for everything. So it's really, really flexible. Great job on that app.
I use SOTA Spotter, which works okay, although sometimes the spots are delayed by as many as 10 minutes, and the person might be done by then. But it does work. The classic one, of course, is the SOTA Goat, which only works with on an iPhone. But it has Stinky Goat can bleat for you, or any other goat you can have bleat whenever there's an activation.
Yeah, cool. All right, and here's another one. Is anyone planning to activate next Saturday?
Always.
A good answer.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll
Well,
be on Saturday. Go ahead.
Especially if you're new to SOTA, there's someone somewhere every day.
Yep, for sure.
That's been my experience as a chaser. I'm an avid chaser as well.
Yeah, I prefer not Saturday and Sunday myself. I prefer to go out on Friday on my flex day if I can at all possible, or another day, just because it's the bands are so busy on the weekends. It frees it up a little bit, makes it more pleasurable for me anyway. All right. Well, let's see. I wanted to show a couple other things. One was, let me bring it up here real quick. So I'll go to share screen. And so we had this. So if I go to here, I guess this reflector here that shows up when you go to sotawatch.sota.org. On the right hand side usually is the reflector. You can go here, go to reflector, and this is a community. This is a global community, and it's some stuff is okay and relevant, but I would say most of it I don't really read too much because it's more generic and less applicable to what I'm doing. Wouldn't you agree, ATN?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. You have to recognize that people in Europe can't order the same things from Bioeno batteries as we do. So the discussion about some kinds of equipment and some practices just don't work. Interesting maybe, but we can't advise each other. So that's why it's much more generic than what we find maybe on our local regional Facebook group.
Yep. And then so there's a couple others I have here. Of course, I love Twitter, and I'm on Twitter a lot with all of my stuff. There's this is the way I like to interact with people. In addition to that, Discord channels. If you go to Discord channels, you will see there's a ham radio crash course. There's a place for parks on the air or summits on the air there. Under ham radio 2.0, there's a place for POTA and SOTA right there where you get a bunch of interaction. The Toads Discord also has a place for parks on the air and summits on the air. If I can find it, it's in here somewhere. I know it is. I might be in it. Nope, I'm in Nuggets. Right there it is. POTA and SOTA. So Discord. And then, of course, we talked about Facebook. Then also Slack. There's a North American Slack channel. And this is one of my favorites. You can come in here and interact. There's the general random wire. This workbench is really interesting. It has all kinds of great ideas from people. People are making all kinds of 3D printed stuff. It's very sometimes technical, but it's really good what they talk about in here. And then here's the 3D printed section where There's also a bunch of stuff. So anyway, some other online areas in which you can participate in social. Do any of you guys do any of those by chance?
Yeah, I'm on Slack. For me, the interesting part about that is it's very much real time, similar to Discord. So if I'm on a summit, every once in a while, I'll get somebody pinging me on Slack saying, "Hey, can you go to this frequency for summit to summit?" Or, how are things up there? That type of thing. And really, it's almost like texting them, but it all comes real time. So sometimes I'll even let people know, "Hey, I'm down from the summit. I'm safe if I did a night activation," that sort of thing. But it's a great place for sort of real time SOTA activities.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And somebody in here, oh, here it is. Where's that Slack link? Hey, I'm going to put all the links of all of my resources that I have and all that have been mentioned here down in the comments of this stream after it's over. I'll add them there, so you can go back and check. But so just come back a little bit later and check down in there in the comments or in the description of this feed, and they'll all be in there. So. All right. Let's see. What else would I want to talk about? I think that those are all the things. What else did we not talk about maybe that you guys want to mention?
I just wanted to maybe dive in to specific interests, like once you actually form a group, what folks are interested in. And, this past weekend, I sent out a survey to our SoCal SOTA group just to kind of get a sense of, who the people were, what are they interested in, to kind of help me help the group. What I found out, and I won't share my screen, but I'll just kind of talk through the results. About half of our hams are what I call classic hams. So they've been around, over 10 years. But a solid quarter of them, are brand new hams. People have been operating less than 2 years. I've been a ham a little over 2 years, so I consider myself, new or somewhat seasoned. So there's a lot of new people that are really looking for more information on SOTA. What kind of setup do people use, that type of thing. As far as things that folks are interested in for group meetings, learning about gear is probably number one, but also learning how to be a better ham, operating procedures and modes. What's the best way to work a pileup? What's the best way to sort of, call out, change frequencies, that type of thing. And then last thing I just wanted to mention here, there's a lot in this survey, but I just wanted to touch on the important points. As far as things that people are interested in as a group, there is a huge interest in people wanting to help new people learn more about SOTA. In other words, once you get these groups together, the desire of people who have been into SOTA a while to help out new people is very, very strong. And we see that all the time in our group. People encouraging folks to get into CW or to go on a joint activation with them, those types of things. So it just gives, by forming one of these groups, by reaching out, forming a community, it gives people that opportunity to do so. And then the second big thing, group activities, as many of you all have mentioned already, is doing a camp out or an S2S event. And I hope sort of even this discussion we're having today might lead to even broader sort of S2S events, more campouts, just more of the things that people love about the hobby. So.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. We're getting close to time. Is there anything else?
Rhett,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, Rhett, along that line, I've had a couple of opportunities. I put together a slideshow. Well, what do you call it? PowerPoint, which is made in such a way that you can present it. I use it and present it to a ham club. So a local club will contact me. And during COVID, they were all meeting on Zoom. So we would just get online and I would do it's about 18, 20-minute presentation about SOTA for people who are part of a local amateur club but don't know anything about SOTA. And that's one of the ways that, we can promote it in our own area. Of course, I think it's even better if we could go in person and let them, like Pat at what you mentioned, the Hamfest, he brings radios, batteries, antennas. Ryan even brought along the little bitty hut that he sits in that can raise your temperature 30 degrees and keep you warm in the cold. So we do share, when we can do it in person, we get to show the gear. So that's just another way that we've kind of spread the word out in this area.
Yeah, it's good. All right. So what I'm going to do with the remaining time is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go around and just give each of you an opportunity to say whatever else you want in a wrap up. And then, but before we do that, there was one more question here that's directed at ATN. People are wanting to know about your EMA attempts, Earth, Moon, Earth attempts. So could you speak a little bit to that? Okay, you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah, that maybe could be a whole nother program. Practically, it's rewarding but not very fun in some ways, because it's a huge amount of work for a very small reward. You know, making a contact once per hour and a half is not really that exciting. But what is exciting is doing it and pointing your Yagi at the moon. For goodness sake, that is just amazing fun for me. Think that I'm actually hearing someone off the moon and they're hearing me with my 100 watts. Remember, it's a station I could carry, so we could go into that another time. But one of the things about SOTA and new people, and actually COVID, this all happened at the same time, is that we're encouraging people to be on the air. And if you guys actually know, only about a quarter of hams are actually regularly active. So something like Someone's on the Air puts us in a whole new category of people being engaged with our hobby that hasn't happened in a long time. And we're seeing and living a lot of people really enjoying radio, and young people besides. So that's one of the great things, people being actually active with ham radio. SOTA and POTA are really fantastic for engaging people with radio. And then all these resources that we're talking about today will cement it and have them good operating practices and good experiences and success on a summit.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, ATN. I thank you for being here. Appreciate it. So I think was that your final comments then, I hope?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, good. Okay. I shouldn't have said I hope. I should have said it, or else or whatever. Okay, anyway. Let's go to let's go, let's see right here. We'll go to Mike next.
Yeah, I just want to say, there's a lot of areas in the US and in the world that don't have a SOTA group to rely on. So I would say if you're even thinking about forming one of these groups, one thing that I would want everybody to understand is, and kind of echoing what Doug said earlier, my experience has been that the SOTA hams are the best hams out there. They're just the most helpful, most outgoing and engaging group out there that I have met. And so just know that when you start these groups, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see people who are willing to lend a hand, willing to help you out with gear, operating, even go on a hike with you or go to a camp out with you. So I would just say take the plunge, go ahead and move forward with it. And I am sure that you will be delighted at what you see come out of it.
Cool. And Mike, I don't know can you see the comment below? Can you read that for us?
It says, it's K6ARK. Been listening along here. I want to throw out a big thanks to Mike, KN6EZ, for all he does for the SoCal SOTA community. And I would just say right back at K6ARK for his videos and just supporting the entire ham radio SOTA community at large. So
yeah, thank you. All right, you're up, Doug.
Oh, well, I guess for me, final thoughts. My YouTube channel is more of an Elmering type channel, so I get a lot of people that are interested in CW, which is really has been a pleasant surprise for me. And they'll ask, how can I improve my CW? And my go-to answer for them is go to SOTA Watch 3 and look at all those spots and look how many of them are CW. And I'll say, you want to grow your speed, just chase those SOTA operators. And of course, they may not even know what SOTA is, and I'll send them my little SOTA primer guide. But, that's one of the greatest ways for me when I got back into CW to improve my speed was just chasing SOTA activators. Like, I'll tell my viewers, you already know their call sign. You already know the frequency they're on. You got the Summit ID. And all you've got to do is be able to understand when they respond to your calls, give them an what do we call a RST, a signal report, and then a thank you and sign off. So that's been an opportunity for me to promote SOTA, is just for people who are looking to get into CW. I think it's just one of the greatest ways to improve your CW.
Yeah, I agree, Doug. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Pat.
Well, just echoing what everybody else said about the SOTA community and everybody that's involved, I think it's a group of people that make it easy to form relationships because of our love of ham radio, portable operation, hiking, the outdoors. It's the combination of multiple things that we all love that I think make it special. And just throw a quick plug out. Spring camp out will be in the Roanoke, Virginia area, April 28th to May 2nd. And the W4G Georgia fall camp out will be October 12th through the 16th this year.
Bravo. Very good. Look, hopefully I'll be around in outside of the woods when it's on. I'd love to attend one of those. All right, Pat, thanks for
Definitely.
being here.
Thank you.
All right, Dan.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. I guess my final comment is that amateur radio has always been plugged as the way to meet new people from around the world, which is great. And with the SOTA and POTA communities, or any of the portable operating groups in general, you still get that. You get to meet people that you otherwise wouldn't meet. And you get to hike and enjoy everything out in nature as well. And the best part of it is it's one thing to be able to talk to folks on the radio, but being able to take somebody who's new to SOTA or POTA out for an activation, or get together on a camp out and get to have the face-to-face interaction is what really makes these groups special, and it's what makes these programs special. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who promotes the hobby, promotes these types of events. You guys are doing a great job, and it really is working based on the number of new people that I see coming into these groups.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. All right, I guess I'll go last here. I wanted to mention a couple, one other kind of, or two other ways to interact, maybe one other way. So let me share my screen here real quick. Let's see right here. And so many of you probably know about the Virtual Ham Radio Expo coming up March 12th and 13th. So as we're talking along here, I thought, hey, I might want to mention this other thing that I've been doing. So I'm not setting you up. It's just kind of a spur of the moment thing here. But there's this thing called Kumo Space, and Jason, Ham Radio 2.0, who will be on his live stream, probably is on right now, in fact, or maybe it's another hour from now. He has a space where open 24/7 during the Ham Radio Expo, and you hop into this space, and you can see me right here talking, kind of right down in here. So it's basically a video chat, but you can move around the room, and so when I click, I move different spots over here. So there's going to be a Summits on the Air corner, and if I can zoom out here, that's this corner here in the bottom left of the YouTubers Kumo space. And so I'm trying to set up people who are experienced to hang out in this area and have chats with people who are new or people who have questions. So I'll be here, and I have WG0AT, the GOAT, Steve will be here. I think that I'm trying to get a couple other people. There's a tentative commitment from Tim, K4SWL. But hopefully maybe some of you guys here today or in the chat or who are listening later can reach out to me if you're interested to help out. Let me just zoom out here real quick on this and see if I can. Let's see. That's not it right here. So nope, that's not it either. There's got to be somewhere. There's a place where you zoom out and it shows you kind of all the different. Well, I don't need to do it today. That's good enough. That gives you an idea. So basically, it's another place where you can come and get your questions answered. So if you're interested, if you're participating in the Virtual Ham Radio Expo, then come on in sometime. Hopefully somebody will be in that corner to answer questions. So with that, I'm going to say thank you again to all of our guests who have come and visited us and contributed. I appreciate it. And why don't you guys hang out for just a minute after we end the stream, if you would, please. And so thanks everybody who's been in the chat, and for all of you who will listen later. I hope you come on back and get involved in SOTA if you can. If not, get involved in POTA. If you can't, then just do some portable radio. It's really something I love and we all do. So with that, I'm going to say 73, you guys. Take care, everybody.